There we go. Is it working? Okay, there we go. Now we're working fine. I'm going to pause this for. Okay, we're on live. Welcome to Love and Money Secrets TV, and I'm your host, Dame Lillian Walker from Southern California. It's a beautiful, bright blue sunny day. It was actually 80 degrees, so it finally feels like summer, and we are in the third week of June. So I want to put out a message there to you all. Don't let the fools, don't let the naysayers steal your thunder. Now, why am I saying this? I just had a conversation with a friend of mine who did this phenomenal interview. She is a natural born healer, a natural born psychologist, therapist. She's actually getting her degree. She's like at the very tail end of completing her degree in psychology. She had this incredible interview with this incredible knowledge and information about this unique area of women's health and women's psychology, well-being. She integrated energy medicine and all sorts of things, including ancestral ties and soul ties, which in fact we even discussed, her and I, about doing a collab where, because I have a video that has to do with 5 steps on how to get over a breakup. And one of the steps is on breaking soul ties. And then she took it a step further. She actually has something very profound. I'm encouraging her to translate it into English because this was done in Spain, in the Canary Islands. And she speaks English and Spanish beautifully and fluently. So I was encouraging her that we should do something. We can do it bilingually so that we capture anybody who can speak English and Spanish. And so there's a lot of great healing information. She has had some profound healing herself, and she's been able to help so many others. And so now it's time for her to share that with others at a much larger scale. And of course, as you guys know, there are crabs in a barrel. The naysayers, the negative Nancys, the critical Kellys, those who are, they're the sideline spectators. They're not the ones who are on the football field, rubbing elbows with the other fellow football players, millionaire to millionaire. No, they're the wannabes that are in the bleachers, that are the spectators, that they seem to know everything that you should do right, even though may have never played a day in their life of professional football, but they seem to know all the plays and everything. And if they were to do it, they could do it better, which you and I both know is not true. So the bottom line is that when you put yourself out there doing these YouTube videos, don't think for a moment that there aren't people who can produce and broadcast far better, more professional quality videos than I can. I know that. I'm not touting myself as being the premier video producer, editor, blah, 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 broadcaster. No, this is about my helping people relieve themselves from pain and to live a better life, for them to learn to create heart coherence and brain coherence, to align those two so that they truly have courage. They're standing in authenticity and proof of who they truly are, and they show up whole, in integrity, and complete, being the fullest expression of themselves as they walk this small dash of time that we call life. It starts at birth, and the other date is a question mark because nobody knows what that end date is until that day arrives. And so there are so many people that are quick to judge, quick to criticize. They don't get up and do what you're doing. They don't get interviewed by people from around the world, but they're quick to criticize you. And you know what? I'm going to say here, I consider myself to be a dignified, classy, very diplomatic lady. And the first marker of a person, if it's a woman, I don't consider a woman with class being critical and judgmental. It takes no manners. It takes no courage to have harsh criticism or blame of another human being. And to tear down a friend, an acquaintance, or a colleague is not a classy move. It shows lack of manners, lack of propriety, lack of own self worth. Because if you had self dignity and self worth, you would not have the urge to want to put somebody else down. It's just not in you, it's just non existent. So, for those who criticize you and whatever it is that you're doing, just smile and laugh and recognize that they're self identifying themselves as people who are broken, people who don't have class, don't have manners, don't have enough self respect and dignity. Obviously, they don't have boundaries. It's quite evident. So, I want to share with you some tidbits and facts, which I think most of you will be surprised to find out. Did you know that we have, I saw reports of anywhere between 9 and 12 US presidents who never graduated from college? That's right, my friends and gems. So let me read you a few. Let's start with George Washington. That's right, George Washington did not go to college, did not get a bachelor's degree, or a master's or a doctorate for that matter. And he ran the United States, and I might say pretty successfully. Wouldn't you agree that he was successful, George Washington? How about, I'm just going to read off the names. We're not going to go one by one really slowly and elaborate. Some of these presidents I never heard of, to be quite frank with you. But the presidents that I was able to confirm that did not have a college degree was George Washington, Andrew Jackson. He's on our bill, our currency, so he's obviously successful, significant. Abraham Lincoln did not graduate from college. Did you know that? That's true. Harry S. Truman, Martin Van Buren, Zachary Taylor, Millard Fillmore, and Grover Cleveland. So let's add a few more people to that list who never graduated from college and who are successful in multiple areas of their life. Let's talk about Steve Jobs. Yeah, the creator of Apple, founder, never graduated from college. Ellen DeGeneres never graduated from college. Mark Zuckerberg didn't graduate from college. Michael Dell of Dell Computers. Did you know that he was a pre-med student? And while being a pre-med student, in order to make ends meet, to make a living while he was in college, he actually had used computers and he would sell used computers from his dorm room. He did so well at that, in fact, that he ended up quitting school and in his first year made $6 million. But he never graduated from college. He's not a software engineer. He doesn't have a degree of any sort. But I would tell you that he has a certain degree of character. He has a certain degree of self-education, without a shadow of a doubt, and an incredible amount of experience. Michael Dell. Who else? Ralph Lauren. I could go on and on and on. And I'll tell you some facts about Einstein that a lot of people don't know. When Einstein was born, his family was actually stressed out about him for the first 4 or 5 years. In fact, from birth, when he was first born, he was born with a misshaped head. His head was misshapen. And over several months, his head then started to regain its natural shape. But for years, they were worried that something might be seriously wrong with him and that he might have some sort of learning disability. And then to boot, did you know that he did not speak for the first 4 years of his life? He was 4 years old before he uttered a word. That was Einstein. Did you also know, I had to write these all down because I don't remember them. I don't remember these all. But his brain was missing a wrinkle called the parietal upper column. So his brain was actually 20% larger. His parents thought he might have a learning disability due to his late speech development. At 5, his father, when he was 5 years old, I guess his father showed him a compass. And that compass absolutely intrigued him. And that's what began his love for science. At 6, he began to play the violin, which he played daily throughout his life. It's something he never gave up, and it was one of his passions. I believe he played 1 or 2 hours violin every single day. And it was part of his method of distracting himself from doing physics all the time and imagining and then intuiting a lot of knowledge as well. He understood the magnetism of the brain and the combination of thoughts creating and quantum, and how the heart magnetizes it. And if you keep your brain thinking about the same thing over and over again, we talked about this in another video because almost nobody talks about this, but you're thinking about something obsessively without taking your thought away from it, pins it down to the ground so that you can't upload what it is that you're trying to create. So then he would move to violin, a creative endeavor that gave him a lot of joy. And then, of course, he would quantum manifest. In school, he was actually a bad student. He was at the top of his class, but mostly in math and science. At 12 years old, he self-taught himself geometry. He didn't learn geometry in school. This is Einstein I'm talking about. So he self-taught himself geometry at 12. At 15, he mastered calculus. His school, trust me, they don't teach you this when you're 12 years old. They don't teach you geometry. They don't teach you calculus at that age level. So he self-taught himself these things. So why am I pointing this out? Because right now, I think more than ever, especially since so many people are pent up because of this global pandemic that we're going through, a lot of people, depending on what country you're living in, what neighborhood, what community you're in, some people are more incarcerated and jailed and confined, and they're kind of going stir crazy. Some people inherently have a natural tendency and thirst and desire for gossip. Some people are just looking for negative stuff to put their fangs into and their claws, and they just like to tear that person apart because they have nothing else better to do. They have so much free time on their hands that's what they do. They're not creative, they're not smart, they're not intelligent. It takes, like I said, no intelligence to be a critic or to be judgmental. Sorry about that. I did put my notifications on disturb because I just did this video on an impulse. But I want to share with you, there is, and in fact, I am going to do a screen share with you guys so that you can read along with me, The Man in the Arena. And I think that this is the perfect way to wrap up and finish this segment. And I want to hear from you guys because what I want to instill in you, and I want to encourage you, this is part of the whole theme of Love and Money Secrets TV, has to do with self-mastery. It's in order for you to create the best you, you're going to have self-love. And self-love will not, it's like, you know what? Somebody starts with the negative Nancy chimes. It's like, nope, I'm not going to let that in. It could be your doctor giving you a death wish, saying, you know, you have X amount of days to live or months or year, whatever their death sentence is. If they're telling you you have this amount of time to live, nope, I'm not going to let that in. You know, we don't have a cure for this. All we can do is pain management for you. Like, okay, that's his opinion based on his limited medical knowledge. I'm not telling you to ignore doctors. I'm saying that what I have learned in my lifetime and what I have seen, not only with myself, my son was slated to die when he was 11 years old, and he's very much alive today. My husband's coworker died of what my son had. My son had GBS, Guillain-Barré, very, very rare neurological disorder. He was 11. It's unheard of for kids to get GBS. He was in the hospital for 11 and a half weeks. I didn't let in, even though the evidence before me was that my husband's coworker just 4 months before died of GBS because he went into respiratory arrest and then he was gone. I didn't let that in. I could not afford the luxury of a negative thought, and you cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought either. So I want you to be a slippery bar of soap when you have negative naysayers, when you have that bad negative vibe energy. Say, nope. It's just like your ego. It's like, nope, I'm not going to let that in. Marissa Peer talks about how, nope, I'm not going to let that in. They told Marissa Peer, doctors told her, oh, for whatever reason, you're not going to ever be able to have kids. She's like, nope, not going to let that in. Not only am I not going to let that in, but I am going to have a baby. I'm going to have a beautiful, easy, beautiful pregnancy. It's going to be an easy birth. That baby is going to come completely healthy. And so it was. It came to pass. If you watch any of her YouTube videos, if you take any of her RTT training and so forth, at the genesis, at the root, at the basis of what she teaches and what she embodies and what she's helped people from royalty to celebrities to famous people all around the world has to do with that. You have to manage your own thoughts. As you move forward, the more successful you become, the more naysayers, the more critical people you have. If you're going to care about negative comments that people are going to put on any of your social media, like what do I do on my social media page? If I have somebody who either starts to spew negative stuff, like I'm not about politics. So if somebody is spewing negative stuff, I hide it. And if I see that they're on that's the bandwagon, that's their thing, then I unfriend them or I block them because I don't want any part of that negative type of energy. That's not my thing. I can't be on my Facebook and my Instagram and everything all the time 100% to make sure it's 100% clean, but I do the best that I can. And you have to do that with your sacred temple. Protect your heart, which is the most important. Protect your brain, your thoughts, your mind, your emotions. And nobody can do that for you. Only you can do that for yourself. So with that being said, let's share with you the mind, not the mind, I'm going to call it the man in the arena. Let me see if I can get this. The man in the arena speech here. Okay. So read along with me. It's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or whether the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. So this is his place, shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. The man in the arena. So, are you going to be the man or the woman in the arena? Or are you going to be the critics, the naysayers, the negative Nancys, the low self esteem, jaded, cynical, non productive, not classy individual? If you're a gentleman or a lady, you're not going to engage in that behavior. You simply don't have time for it. And the truth is, the higher up you go, the more successful you become. And I mean successful in terms of both money, relationships, and also in terms of wealth. You will have more critics. There's no question about it. It's part of the package. But you don't have to let that in. It's up to you. And in order for the cream to rise to the top, you can't let that in. You got to let it go. You got to be a slippery bar of soap and just let it slide. Let it slide. Let it slide so you can glide up. Okay? Let it slide so you can glide up. Because if you keep on shooting for the stars, you're not going to get a handful of mud. Keep shooting for the stars. Be the man in the arena. Be the man, be the woman that counts. Get out there, do it, share your gift, share your message. Keep your education going, self-education, formal education, education. Keep learning, keep striving, keep applying, keep sharing what you know, what you experience. It's all you can do. All right? And always, always strive to be the best you and the most authentic version of yourself. Okay? I'm not a master. I don't know it all. I'm definitely not perfect. I've got some scars. I've got some bruises. I've got some things to show for my getting into that arena. And I hope we can share scars and wounds and stories too, because it's in that point of woundedness and pain that unites you and me and whoever it is that is going to benefit from what it is that you have to offer. And you get to the other side, you give somebody else hope. They're like, oh, wow, she was there too. She knows how I feel. And now there's hope. There is belief that they too can do it because you did it. Man, woman, makes no difference. Okay? My friends and gems, thank you for another impromptu Love and Money Secrets TV episode. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me what resonates with you. Tell me what you liked about this video. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button if that's your kind of thing. You smash that notification bell so that every time we put a new video up, you'll be notified. And to get the edited versions of these live stream videos, just go to damelillianwalker.com. It takes you straight to the YouTube channel, Love and Money Secrets TV. Here on the live streams, they are the unedited version. It's raw, it's real, it just is, but you get it quick. Okay? All right, take care. And as always, ciao for now.